Welcome back to the More Than a Network Marketer podcast. And today we're talking about how do you get a paid brand partnership when you're into social media marketing in 2025. We got to get real for a second. Did you know that 86% of marketers are now pouring their budgets into influencers, right? But here's the thing, not big influencers, micro influencers and content creators. That's a massive chunk of change. Yeah, I bet most creators out here are still staring at an empty inbox like it's a forgotten coffee cup, wondering where all that opportunity went and why it's not coming your way. The truth is, the old mass messaging or the spray and pray tactic, the cold DMs, the desperate pick me comments on social media, just hoping that a brand will magically stumble across your page, send you a message, offer you all kinds of money. Trust me, that concept flatlined at the end of last year. Seriously, the marketing departments of these brands, these companies, they're no longer going about it in the same ways that they used to. And if you're serious about landing a paid partnership before the calendar flips again, you absolutely need to stay right here, because I'm going to walk you through just exactly the things that my clients focus on, that I focus on in order to do that and in order to get well-paid jobs, not just getting on PR lists for free stuff. You hear me? Because again, free stuff is cool, but is it really giving us what we want? The first piece is that mindset reset. Let's ditch the outdated belief that you need 1 million followers to actually make good money online. Most of the people that I know that make incredible money, that literally pays for every trip, every family expense, they have less than 10,000 followers on Instagram. That's just not how it works anymore. That's not a currency that actually matters, your follower count. Brands in 2025 care about one thing above all else: ROI, return on investment. When they hire you to do something, are you going to make more than what they paid you for them? They're not chasing headcounts, they're chasing conversions. That's their level of impact. And guess what? Nano and micro creators like yourself, even with a smaller audience, you have skill that can convert for them on their pages. Oftentimes, micro creators outperforming conversions big names, because trust is much higher for smaller creators than the big celebrity names that you're used to seeing, which you might not believe, but it's true. And if you can build the connection and trust to a specific audience that a brand is looking to tap into, you're in your gold and you're worth so much more than what you realize. Your goal is not to look like a celebrity. Your goal when you want to get paid in the content space is to look like a safe and sound investment. And so how do you do that? Having a one-pager, a portfolio, a media kit, you hear about it, but let's talk about what elements of this digital handshake is the most important. It is your professional calling card, but so many people get so caught up in making this fancy PDF or website. It doesn't need to be that crazy. If you're into that and if you want to invest in having someone build that for you, go for it. But trust me, I made over 6 figures in my first year in UGC, and I did not have a PDF or a website portfolio. I'll tell you what I do recommend using though. I recommend using a website like Breakaway Co, BRKaway.co. You can build a portfolio on there and also get hired for paid brand deals, but you can link off the platform and share that portfolio, which is incredible. Some other things that you want to make sure that you have on whatever you want to use for a portfolio are things like case studies, results that you've created for clients, screenshots of past conversions, sales, even affiliate conversions, and metrics from your days in network marketing if that's applicable to you. All of that matters. Where people are talking about you also shows your intent to create content that converts, because remember, that's their goal at the end of the day. It's not even just about how fancy of editing you can do. Finish strong with your content info, but also on any of these websites, you also want to have a way where they can contact you via email and also a way to book a call with you. I use Calendly to book things, and it's been really beneficial just to make it easy for brands. The next thing you want to think about is, before you just start mass messaging a ton of brands of products that you love, I want you to think about this when it comes to your pitching. When it comes to pitching, you want to be smart and think about what categories are actually going to be the ones where money is to be made. Because oftentimes it's not the sexy products. It's not the lip products, the makeup, the hair. Oftentimes it's things like tech, websites, supplements. All of those are categories that might not be the sexiest, but even things like home renovation, blinds, gardening, filters for your car. Think about all of these really random categories that might not be super girly, frilly, and niche, but actually make incredible money. So start to think about, what are some brands and categories that not everyone and their mom is already reaching out to? I think this is such an underrated thing to think about, because if you're reaching out with the same canned email hundreds and thousands of other people are, you're not going to stand out. Which then leads me to my next point, is crafting your pitch that allows you to stand out out and shows the brands, hey, this is why I'm the best fit to do what you want and why you should pay me. Now I'm going to give you the formatting that you can use to craft, a 150 word pitch. You can send this in DMs. You can send this in emails. You can also utilize this on marketplace platforms, which I'll talk to you about here in a second. But start with a genuine acknowledgement of the campaign. Show that you read it. Show that you read the brief. Compliment what they're asking for, not just them. This is not a time to brown nose. This shows that you're actually paying attention to the brief and what they're asking for and not just mass emailing. So show that you pay attention. That is key to standing out. The next is you want to hit them with a compelling data point. Bring them in, keep them reading. This could be something like the performance of something that you did for another brand in the same category, or an aha moment that you noticed from reading a certain publication that shows that a certain brand and things are, moving up in the world, and you want to share an idea that you have to help them get their piece of the pie. Part 1, part 2. The third is sharing an idea for a concept you have, a one-liner without giving it away. There are brands that will try and get you to do test videos or free projects to get things out of you for free. So if you have a really good idea for a concept, share it with the brand briefly, but don't give everything away until they've officially hired you, you've signed agreements, etc. Make it super clear about why this idea is going to give them what they want. Share that you understand the outcome that they want. And then of course, end it with a question while assuming the yes. I'm so excited to get started working with you. What are the next steps? I'm so excited to work with you. Who is the best person I can talk to so we can get this going? Can you see how some of that stuff makes a huge difference? It's short, it's sweet, it's impactful, but you notice you're not gushing about why you're so wonderful and how much you love them. Sharing things about you that show your unique edge that's going to help make their project better, etc. That's one thing, but this is not where you brag about how big your audience is and blah, 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 and how many things you've done. It really is about why you are that safe and sound investment. Remember, I talked about that before. Go ahead and write that out. And then what I do as well is I take that piece that I've written and I put it into ChatGPT, the one that I customized for my brand voice. And I asked them to make multiple versions of that for me so that I'm not sending the same template. I want some slight variation so that way I can customize it when I do reach out to a brand, an agency, or some other decision maker. And then of course, pricing like a pro. If you want to get paid, you need to price things properly. I am of the belief that when you're just starting out, pricing lower and growing from there is great, because even if you're not a beginner in the online space, you might be a beginner in this space. And what's really nice is when you're super intentional about your pricing, you can get really great reviews and ratings under your belt and then raise your pricing from there. I always like to say if your conversion's above 50% consistently, then you're going to want to raise your prices. That is in the world of UGC. It's when you sell your own products and services, all that stuff. So when it comes to pricing, now, when you're just creating a piece of content, you're sending it to a brand, that's cool. But let's say you want to price to post on social media. Oftentimes you could take the base rate, so let's say it's $100, and add 30% to post on social media. So that would be $30, so $130 total. And you can kind of price that, you want to use your social media audience. Let's say your Instagram's more engaged than your TikTok. Maybe you can do a slight difference in the price if you want to. But something like that is really great because then they can even run whitelist ads through your post, which again is a great value add because it's helping them make money, but also helping you get booked for the job while also funneling traffic to your pages for however you use them. But I like to look at it too. When a brand reaches out and asks my pricing, I like to give them 2 options, sometimes 3, but no more, because if you give them too many choices, they can become overwhelmed. So let's say tier 1 would be 1 video that's optimized for Instagram Reels. And then tier 2 could be 2 videos for TikTok and for Reels with some different hook variations. So you can kind of give some different options. Generally, if they're going to order multiple pieces of content, you can give incentivized pricing by taking a little bit off the price. And you can also look at some ways to add value without decreasing your pricing, including giving usage rights to run on ads, to give them an option with subtitles and without. All of that stuff can help add value and also ties to over delivering. Something you'll hear a lot in the content space, I know this is an overview, but it'll be about perpetual usage. And generally as a whole, almost everything that I make includes perpetual usage, and that's what brands want. They're not going to use the video forever. It'll probably have a 2 to 3 month lifespan and then they'll move on. And at the times that I have priced for usage, I generally price it for 3 months. So I kind of just work that into my pricing as a standard. And that's something that I recommend doing just to make your life easier. And then if they need to come down at all on price and you choose to have wiggle room, you can choose, maybe you'll peel away the perpetual usage rights with a decrease in price, and then that might incentivize them to bump it back up and meet you at your asking price. Because I get it, the next piece here is negotiation, and I understand that sometimes you might be hit with budget stuff. I always like to say, I'm absolutely willing to work with you, and you can look based on their budget, peeling some elements away to meet their pricing. So like instead of a 60-second video, you do a 30-second video to meet their budget and have some different adjustments. Maybe there's no B-roll or no raw footage provided in order to meet their price. So negotiate confidently and powerfully, remembering that at the end of the day, these brands need you. And so you don't have to always meet them at what they initially say. If you believe that the work that they're asking for and the elements that are involved should require more money, let's say you're going to multiple locations to shoot content, etc., charge for that. And so pricing confidently, not always needing to appear the cheapest, is actually a benefit to being able to make more money and get hired for paid content. So whether you've never been hired for a paid gig or you've done a few, but you really want to get into more, something that I recommend doing in closing here is, rather than cold messaging people who might not be decision makers, I recommend utilizing marketplaces. There are so many platforms, and deciding on the best one for you, send me a DM if you want help with that. Being on marketplace platforms, using things like Reddit and X, aka Twitter, are also great options to connect with brands as well as agencies that represent brands. And so that can be a great way where it's a little bit of reaching out, but it's also a great way to get inbounds coming your way. And as you build up your experience, your portfolio, your example videos, and you get comfortable with pricing, it's going to make such a huge difference. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel if you're watching on YouTube, or that you're also subscribed and following the podcast on audio, because I'm going to make sure that I am bringing you tons of value, of course, but also sharing some of the uncomfortable truths that a lot of people in the content space don't know and should be talking about. But consider this a nice overview to give you an idea of what are some things that you can be doing to go from someone who has not been getting paid to someone that is getting paid, because I like to strip away the fluff and tell you exactly what you should be focusing on. Go ahead and comment, let me know your thoughts, and I will see you guys in the next video.